All right, still working on the windows uh, for the first floor. And you'll notice if you're paying attention to these tutorials that I say, well, I think I want to do this, but I'm not sure. We'll deal with it later if we have to change it. And that's uh, true. Uh, when we're working with Revit, it's very simple to make a change, but we do the best that we think is appropriate at the time. And then as we fine tune things, we find out maybe that they're not supposed to be. For example, for some reason, uh, this wall used to be lined up right here, and there was an issue with the tile on the floor. I changed it and I moved the wall got moved over some way, and it turns out that I actually like it better because now I can put a nice little bench right here so that when you come in from the garage, you have a bench to take your shoes off and maybe put some different shoes on or slippers or whatever. And then you can go right into the closet and take off your jacket or do it the other way around. Take off your jacket, hang it up, come over here, take off your boots or your shoes or whatever. So I think this is nice to have a little spot here. So although somehow this got changed without me really thinking about it, it still works. In fact, it works better because I can have a little bench here, and I like that idea quite a bit. Um, so anyway, things change, and sometimes, hopefully, always, but usually for the better. So I want to put that sliding glass door walls in here, and I don't have any loaded into the project. So we go to the Insert tab, and we go to the Load Family, and we'll go over to the Imperial Library and then to Doors. Now, this is it. It's a double sliding door. It's got glass panels in between. So I'll take that and say, okay, I want that loaded into the project. And I like the 6 feet wide by 84 inches tall. That's the biggest one we can have. And I really want to make, I have plenty of room here, but let's put it in to see what we have here. So always save the project. It takes a couple of seconds. Never be sorry that you did. Okay, so look at this. If I put in a 6 foot door here, I have plenty of room. So now my question is, would I want to put three 6 foot doors in or maybe two 8 footers? And I'm thinking maybe three 6 footers would look better. So I'm going to copy this guy over to here and I might have to copy him a little, or I'm going to use the keyboard, the arrow keys on the keyboard just to do that. And all right, let's make sure that that one guy is centered. So I'm going to dimension from here to the center of that window and then to here and say equal. And now, if we assume that this guy is in the right location, which I really like to have 6 inch returns. So let's make that 6 inches and see what happens here. Click on the door wall and I'll change that to 6 inches. And then I'm going to click on this door wall and mirror it about the center of this and see if it'll work. And it won't because it's into the brick on that side. So let's align the edge of that door. So we'll go over to the align command, click on the brick, and then we'll click on here. I should have moved it over and it didn't. All right, so we'll do it again. Click on the face of the brick, and then click on the door. Okay, so now I'm just going to delete this guy because I'm lazy. And the easiest way to fix that is to mirror it about here. And now everything works. Okay, so I like that. I've got my three door walls in there. I think that will look pretty decent. Well, I'm not sure, but let's take a look at it real quick just to see what I'm thinking about here. If that makes sense, we'll use the camera. We'll come over here and take a picture of it. That looks fine. Nice bank of windows there. I can see that I have plenty of, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I should increase the height of these door walls so that they line up with those windows. And I think that's a good idea. I wouldn't necessarily have noticed that without this camera feature. So let's continue. No, let's put them in. Let's fix this All right, so let's see. We'll come over here and we'll go to the view. This is my uh, first floor window height, and I want to make these guys the same height. So how much do I need to add to the height of this window? Let's go from here. 1 foot 9 1/4. Control C. I'm going to click on this guy, edit the type, duplicate it. I'm going to leave it at that right now, but it left the 2 there, and I'm going to change the height. Height is right here, 7 feet. So I'm going to add Control V, 1 foot 9 1/4. So I'm going to change that from 7 feet to 8 feet. So it should be 8 feet 9 1/4 inches. Let's see what happens. Yep. Okay. So they're going to line up. Let's see what happens if I use my match properties. Will that work for me here? And yep, that worked. Okay. So now when we go back to that camera view, I don't think it was that one. Let's do another camera view just to see what's going on. All right. They still don't look like they line up. So let's go take a look at this window here, back to the first floor. And I want to pull this guy over and flip it and then go to that view. And interesting. All right, let's take a section through there. See, I just want to see if that window's in the right spot. Doesn't appear to be, does it? This is what we said was the height of the window, and I think that was aligning that guy up. Okay, so let's go back to that 3D view again. Still doesn't look quite right. All right, so back to the first floor. I'll go back to this section, which is cutting through the sliding glass door wall. I'll go over there and take a look. And sure enough, that's exactly where I want it to be. All right, so that's fine. I'll leave it where it is. We're going to put casing around the windows. And when we do that, maybe we'll have to change the height of it a little bit. Another example of me saying, well, we might have to deal with this again later. Anyway, that looks good for now. Back to the first floor plan. I am going to say create similar and put that, right, let's see what happened here. Grab this guy, create similar, and I want to put that one in here. Now, 6 feet is too narrow here, and we really only need one. Let's change this guy, edit the type, duplicate it. Now we're going to call him, instead of 6 feet, we'll call him 8 feet, and get rid of that, and say, okay, so the height of that number is not correct yet. And we'll change the width to 8 feet. All right, so now I have an 8-foot door. Let's line them up. So I'm going to align this using the align tool. I'll come over here, click on that center of that window, and then come over here and click on the center of that. All right, so that looks good. Now I have placed my door walls in my family room. I have my sliding glass door wall in the kitchen or the breakfast nook. And I'm not putting any more sliding glass door walls. I said I don't want to have access outside from the great room, which might be a mistake. But that's what we're going to do. So I've got my 4 wides here. I will say create similar and come over here, and let's put 2 of those in here. See, we can fit one in here. It looks like we can. And so I'll put one over here too. All right. So I think that'll look okay, but let's take a look at it. Let's use our camera just to see. Yeah, that's going to look good. I'm going to stack some windows on top of this one because I have a 2-story space here. But for now, that looks pretty good. All we have to do is kind of figure out the placement of those. So what I'm going to do is annotate detail line. I'm going to draw a line from here to here, and then I'm going to draw another line, annotate detail line, from the midpoint of the line that I just drew to there, okay? And then I will dimension. Now we can dimension from the outside to here, and then to here, and make it equal. So that is where this line represents the midpoint that I want to align to. I'll click on this window, I'll click on this window, and I'll move that too. And I'm going to move all of those things from the midpoint of that line to there. And now the windows are centered in the space. And what do we want to do? I would like this distance and this distance to be the same. So let's see what we have here. If we put a dimension line across here, I think it'll just look nicer. And I can see that window's in backwards. So I'll hit the space bar. And now let's see if that'll work. Because if the corners are equal, I think it always looks a little bit better. So I'm going to come from here back to here, and it should be 1 foot 6 and an eighth. So I'll click on this guy and change him to 1 foot 6 and 1/8 of an inch. And it doesn't work. See, because it comes into the brick there. So let's try to figure out what we want to do then. Let's say we'll go from the brick to the center line of the window, all the way out to the brick again, and let's see if we equalize that, what would happen. There's my equal right there, and that's not going to be good either, because I want at least 6 inches here. So I've tried a few options here. That's not going to work. So let's go from here to here, and then we'll click on the window, and we'll change that dimension to 6 inches. And that just allows me to put some a nice casing around the window. So I want these two windows to align. And again, that's one of those things where that might change in a little bit when I put the fireplace in. Let's see. I think there's going to be enough room for the fireplace. So I'll just copy this guy down for now. I'll copy him from here to here. And that might leave enough room for the fireplace. Maybe I'll need a little bit more. So this guy's not going to be located correctly because I didn't put the fireplace in yet. Proper order would have probably been to do that. Let's just see how much space is left here. 7 feet's probably enough. And I can see that both of these windows are incorrectly placed. They should flip around. These are good. All right, so now I'm starting to get the windows in on the first floor. Let's just walk around the house now. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. That's good. This is good. Okay, good. I might want to put a little window in the create similar. We'll put that one in here in the pantry, and it needs to be flipped. So I'll click on that little arrow there. Should flip it. Now you notice I saw that little, what I would call the buffering symbol. Whenever I see that happening, I always go right over and hit this save icon, because if it took a while for it to process, something's not right. And sometimes that's an indicator that in the future, maybe not too long in the future, something's going to crash. So that's why I always hit that save. Now, in terms of the location of this window, I just put it in kind of in a random spot, but that's fine for now. So now I have a nice window in the pantry, the butler's pantry. And then when these windows are good, I'm just walking around the house saying, okay, everything looks good. I still have to put the front entry door in here. But one other thing I want to do before we stop this tutorial is insert, load a family. I'm looking for a garage door, so I'm in the door family. Here's the overhead sectional door. I'll say okay to that. Come over here and let's just place that guy. Let's see, architecture door. All right, let's see if what sizes do we have to choose from? 8 by 6'6". All right, so there's one, there's two, there's three. Now the garage door is on the inside, so I see that that one's on the outside. I'll put it back onto the inside. The escape. I'm going to just click on this guy and pull him down some more. And I'm going to click on this guy using the arrows on my keyboard. I'm just pulling him up. So I want to make sure that this door is centered. That's going to be the, look at this wall. Get this wall in backwards. So I think I just flipped, instead of flipping the door, I think I flipped the wall. Okay. All right. So let's double check to make sure that everything's fine in terms of my dimensions before I center the wall. I'm going to pick the face of the brick and the face of the brick. So the dimension's good as far as being an even inches number. So I'm okay with that. So I'll go to the center of that middle garage door and say equal. Now those are equal. And then these are 8-foot doors. A little tight. I have a 3-car garage and my main garage door is 16 inches, 16 feet wide. And then the third space is a 8-foot door. And I find that that is a little bit tight. 9-foot doors are a little bit better. Let's see if we can make these 9-foot doors instead. So edit the type, duplicate it. We'll say 9 feet instead of 8, just to see what happens there. Okay, and then I'll come down and change where's the width of this door? Thickness. Oh, that's interesting. This doesn't have the ability there, so maybe I have the ability over here. Yep, it's in the constraint, so I'll just make it 9 feet right there. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other two. I'll go over to modify, match properties, click on this guy and this guy and this guy. Okay, this should still be centered, and it is, so I'm okay with that. Unconstrain it, and let's just take a look at what I have here remaining between them. I have 2 feet. Let's make that a little bit, let's make that 18 inches. So if I click on this guy and change that to 18 inches, let's see if that works. Yep, that's what I want. So I want this one to be 18 inches as well. So I'll come over here and I will dimension from here to here, and then click on this door and say 18 inches. And that's good. So when I open the door on this side, I'll have enough space to open the door. Between the cars, I'll have enough space to open the doors. And then up here too, I'll have enough space, hopefully, to open the door, depending, if I think we'll be okay there. So I'll delete these dimensions, and there we go. Let's get rid of these two, just to keep the project kind of clean. All right, that looks good. All right, all the way around. I still got to find a nice, beautiful front entry door. Looking for that. Probably won't put a window here. So it's starting to take shape. Let's take a look at it in 3D and spin it around a little bit just to see. Yeah, that was starting to look pretty good. This is going to be some work here on that radius, but it's worth it because it'll look really good. And everything else is good. But using the 3D view, you can see that the doors are definitely too high. So I'm going to click on these 3 doors and say the height of, we're going to change it to the level, which is going to be the grade. And then there's a concrete slab for the garage, which is 4 inches. So I need to raise the doors up 4 inches so that they will be on the door will rest on the slab of the garage. Okay, so again, the advantage of looking at things in 3D is you sometimes don't catch things when you're looking at it in plan view or section. But when you look at it in 3D, sometimes that helps out. So there we go. All right, I like that.